Hello and welcome back to MindLaunch. Today I have for you yet another controversial topic that has blown out over the recent decade. It has been discussed and studied since the 1980s, and the results of the studies themselves have been controversial. The topic that I'm talking about is, of course, video game violence. First of all, I do play video games, and some of them are quite graphic in content, gore, and contain violent language. However, it's not like I get off on them. It's just another form of entertainment. So, now that you know that I am a gamer, let's move on to what the studies show. Studies that try to find or disprove the link between violence in video games and violence in the real world have started as early as the 1980s. And at first they showed that there is a direct link between violence in video games and criminal activity in the real world. It was found that violent games make people act more violently outside the virtual world and decrease pro-social behavior. And so it was thought for a while. However, later studies have showed that violent video games don't increase antisocial behavior or increase it very slightly. Actually, at one time statistics showed that only 5% of teenagers that committed violent crimes played video games. Also, they found that some of the research that was conducted earlier was not done properly because of one or another factor. For example, they found that teenagers are not the best subjects to study when searching for a link between virtual violence and real-world violence. That's because the age when kids soak up all the information that is given to them without any questions asked is between 4 and 10. So if a kid of that age was to play a violent video game, of course it would affect him, but not as much as seeing violent behavior in the real life. However, if there is so much controversy surrounding this topic, one might wonder, why do game developers continue developing such games? And the answer to that is quite simple. It's because computers as a form of entertainment were created to simulate spatial environments, in which violence is really easy to create. Of course, there are games that try to move away from this concept and introduce interaction through conversation, for example. However, we don't need a simulation for that because we can do that in the real world. If you want to know more about why violence is so widely used in video games, there's a link to a great video in the description bar below. All in all, there are both points for and against the idea that violent video games are ruining the lives of children. However, before finishing this video, I would like to ask you one more question. Isn't it really just easier to blame someone else than to accept responsibility for your own mistakes? Parents often blame video games and the internet for how their children are behaving. Then they turn around and start yelling at them themselves for not cleaning their room. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to write your suggestion for the topic of the next video, as well as write your own opinion about today's topic. If you want to find out about new videos as soon as possible, just click the subscribe button below and show your support by liking this video and liking us on Facebook. Again, thanks for watching, thanks to Mage for all the help with this channel, and until next time, MindLaunch out.